With that, I will turn it over to Paul Frank. For those of you who may not know him, he is the co-chair of the litigation section at Moye, our Colorado member, and is a vice president and also sits on the executive. Paul?
Meg, thank you, and welcome everybody. This is exciting. We've had some really great parts of the super conference. Certainly the opening session, the keynote speaker, at least what I paid attention to, there's a joke there, was fantastic. And I understand that yesterday's sessions were equally fantastic. Unfortunately, I was in mediation for the day, so I did not get to attend those, but looking forward to the rest of the week. This is an exciting group that we have today because they're talking about innovation and innovation that their firms have implemented. We've got a great panel, Alon Pomerance from Lipa Meir in Tel Aviv. He is a civil litigator, commercial and civil litigator with over 20 years of experience and is head of the firm's litigation department. Christophe is of course the co-founder of Alerion in Paris, where he advises clients, including foreign investors, on a broad range of corporate, transactional, restructuring, investment, and tax matters. We're trying to convince Christophe to go into litigation and arbitration, but he seems to resist that. So, and then rounding up the group is Marty O'Hara, who is co-chair of the Litigation Dispute Resolution Practice Group at Ally Law Chicago, member Mutualist. And so we're thrilled to have them with us today. We're gonna turn this over to Alon and let him get started. They're each gonna present some of the innovative things that their firms have been doing here over the last year or so. So Alon, I'll kick it off with you.
Okay, I'm not muted, right? So hi everyone, and thank you, Paul, for introduction. As Paul said, I'm a litigator and I'm the head of litigation, but I'm as well the managing partner of the law firm. So I'm also in charge of our strategy, implementation, and innovation, which is what we are going to talk about today. So during this time of COVID, we have some time to think about strategy and innovation. And as you can see in our slogan above me, we're putting a lot of focus on being very personal, professional, and creative. So this is how we try to differentiate ourselves from other big or leading law firms in Israel. And we have, according to our slogan, to be more personal, more professional, and more creative, and provide such a service comparing to other law firms which make us unique. And as part of that, we need to be faster, we need to be more professional, and we need to provide results, as well as being more effective. So we actually don't want just to match the expectations of the clients, we need to exceed them so the client will be surprised. Only if we exceed the expectations of the clients, they will be so much satisfied that they will become our promoter and our actually marketing agents. And this will happen only if we have what we call the wow effect. We have to provide a service which make the client say, wow. And this is currently the project I'm working on in the firm, which is, we call it the wow project. Everything has to generate wows. And that's the key to have word of mouth. That's the key to have our clients working for us. That's the key for us not to have to do any marketing because the clients will do the marketing for us. So this is a very exciting project we are working on. Besides that, if we are talking about trying to be innovative in a law firm, we are having forums that think together and engage in certain aspects like customer experience, professionalism, or business development. We are trying all the time to improve ourselves, whether it is the customer experience, the employee experience, the business development, and try to do things a bit different. For example, we try all the time to improve now, especially in this era, our digital marketing and the use of social media. We see that if presidents of the United States is doing that, so law firms should do that as well. And we are actually planning to finish this year with an increase of more than 200% in the number of followers in social media like Facebook and LinkedIn. And we are actually plan to be #1 in law firms in Israel in our rate of increase. We are also trying to smartly target certain population and do like this a clever marketing. For example, certain communications abroad that are interested in purchasing real estate in Israel. Another thing, we are constantly looking to bring more expertise and practices into the firm. We are currently ranked by our local guides in more than 24 practice areas, mainly in Tier 1 and 2 or 2. So as part of that, we have like our special, let's call it M&A strategy or mini M&A strategy, focus more on boutique law firms and leading individuals. So we are trying to add more professionals and experts into the firm in certain niche. We just added, for example, a cyber and AI expert that was the head of policy in our national cybersecurity organization, which is actually in charge of cybersecurity in Israel. So she is like one of the experts in Israel in the fields of cyber and AI, and we think that this is a new practice area that we can develop. We also established this year a second real estate department with a new partner who is one of the leading real estate lawyers in Israel. So this is also changes which we see that I think we are very positive, and we're going to see results even in 2021 and 2022. Another thing we are working on is the use of legal tech, especially to be more efficient and to be also cost effective. We believe that we cannot fight legal tech. So if we can build it, we have to join it and use it. So we are trying to adapt certain software and tools. It's not so easy actually in Israel because we need to use Hebrew as part of our work, and most of the software and innovation in that is actually was created abroad, and we have to use it also in Hebrew, but we are still working on that and trying to have the best tools to improve ourselves. And maybe the last thing I would mention, because there is such a competition on hiring excellent lawyers and interns into the firms, we are trying to improve the employees' experience and be also creative about that as well. So, for example, in times like a lockdown, we are having all kind of little surprises, like having a Zoom morning cafe together, all the law firm, or a Zoom happy hour, or even a Zoom Pilates classes. So there will be still a sense of us working together in a nice atmosphere and feeling that we are not, that no one is isolated, but we are still together and communicating in different ways. So that is basically some examples of our efforts to be innovative in these times and in our industry.
Great stuff, Alon. Thank you. That was interesting. I'm not sure that I could do a Zoom Pilates class, but it sounds like that's good stuff. As we move forward, if you have questions, please use the chat function to get those to Meg or to me, and we'll go ahead and probably hold questions until we finish up. But I'm going to turn this over to Christophe Gerschel from Paris, who will talk a little bit about his firm and innovation at Alerion.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Paul. The subject today I'm going to speak about our quality commission. Well, that's I hope everyone is okay, and we have I found out about this this quality commission some 10 years ago. That was during an IBA session. These were the management of law firms sessions, and one of the speakers, he was a managing partner of medium-sized US law firm, I remember, and he was speaking about the quality commission with his firm. And I liked the concept, and I decided to implement this at Alerion. At the time, you may remember 10 years ago, law firms were looking for new kind of relationship. We were turning around the bottom-up approach, a more collaborative approach, the way to sort of mitigate the top-down basic approach in our law firms. But I saw this not only as a new approach, but also as a tool to gain efficiency and to, of course, improve well-being within the firm. So what we did at the time, we recruited 10 members. At the time, we were, I think, 70 people around. One for each category. We had, I remember we had 2 PAs. We had one junior associate, one senior associate, one partner, of course. I was the managing partner at the time, so that there was another partner, members of the staff, and as a good law firm, we began with drafting the rules of procedure of the quality commission, of course, and basically we were to improve internal quality, improvement of the firm's operation, and well-being and efficiency, plus external quality, and that was, of course, focused on the customer's satisfaction. I remember that I think that was the first meeting. One of the employees was a PA. She came with the topic of the disposable plastic cups. We were using plastic cups for water. I know this sounds very ugly, but we did not recycle them, and she became some sort of local hero, because she has brought this on the table, and she was very proud of doing so. And of course, she was appointed by the Quality Commission to, in a way, investigate what we could do, use glasses or paper cups. How do we wash the glasses without wasting water? How do we recycle the paper cups? And in the end, of course, the Quality Commission adopted something. We decided to use paper cups, and we implemented this. And that was good for the planet, good for the relationship, and good for the pride of this PA, and good for the relation among the Quality Commission. We've done since then. We have been doing many things. We've addressed, for example, I'll give you some example, but we set up a dress code. We provided 5 years ago with a hydroalcoholic gel in the meeting rooms. improved the workstations with the installation of a double screen display for every member of the firm. I remember I saw this in another law firm, and at the time we had only one screen, one computer screen for every workstation, and it was so comfortable having two. And so the Quality Commission, we proposed to try this with 4 or 5 volunteers, and it was a real success. Of course, it was a bit, there was a cost to this, but in the end, it was a real improvement for the firm. And now everyone has 2 screens, and it seems to be very logical, but that was an achievement of the Quality Commission. We did the first aid training for volunteers. We had also an IT, I remember an IT training, security training from a specialized French agency for security. We established the IT charter of the firm. Every time the Quality Commission is taking one subject, what we do is that we only do recommendation to the board. Of course, we have no power to decide anything, but I would say that 99% of the time our recommendation will be followed by the firm. We worked on the creation of a practical guide in order to facilitate the filling of timesheets by young lawyers. We made everyone use the electronic signature. We created one thing that is named Eagle by Alerion, which is some sort of a platform, customized platform for our big clients where we can store all their legal documentation. And this is very much appreciated by them. It was really nothing to put this in place. And it's a good improvement in the relation with these. And also it ensures that they will stay with the firm, because we in a way we monitor all their storage of legal documents. Of course, we worked on environmental issues like the plastic cups I was mentioning, but also we now collect used cardboard boxes. We recycle them for charity purposes. We use recycled paper for individual printers. We also organize solidarity races for promotion of the firm. Recently, the Quality Commission proposed to replace our. We have one traditional office weekend where we do sport, games, food, a lot of alcohol, and we propose to replace this by putting all the members on a nice beach of the French coastline and collect plastic waste. And this really is an improvement because everyone is in a way sensing that he's doing something good, and it improves the quality of the relationships among the firm. We also, as Alon was mentioning before, we set up a partnership with One Legal Tech, because I share the thoughts that we have to collaborate with them. So so this is what we did. We installed beehives on the roof of the building, and we now produce honey, and we give some honey bugs to our best clients. We also deliver organic baskets for with fruits for the member of the firm. That's twice a week. So these are among achievements that we've made. Basically, the Quality Commission meets 4 to 5 times a year. And the meeting we are very relaxed because we are discussing on an equal equal based. Everyone can make his or her points. I was the president of this Quality Commission, but now I passed it to a younger partner, and that's it. And I mean, the Quality Commission can bring any topic on the table, but of course we sometimes are asked by the management of the firm to deal with a specific topic, and that's it. Basically, my conclusion is it was really a good move that we've done at the time, among I think we have like 4 commissions in total. We have 1 managing partner and a board, and then we have 4 commissions: the International Commission, the IT Commission. But among all the commissions, the Quality Commission is the one who's working very well, and everyone is quite happy to be part of it.
Sounds great, Christophe. Thank you. That's interesting, and I know we have some follow-up questions on that as we move forward. I'm going to pass the baton right now to Marty O'Hara in Chicago and let him talk a little bit about some of the innovation at Much. Marty?
Thanks, Paul. It's good to see everybody. It's amazing how long it's been since we've been together. And you know, it's hard being apart. You know, it's great when we're together and we see each other, but it's nice. Thanks to Paul and Meg and Wendy for putting this together. For my, where Much Else is at, it really starts kind of 7 years ago, because as many probably on this call have been down this same road. When we had done a 5-year plan 7 years ago, the consultant told us that we would be dead in 5 years if we didn't become the Chicago office of somebody larger. Said we were too small to be a mid-sized firm, and we were too big to be considered some kind of a boutique firm, and that at our size, at 100 lawyers, would not exist in the legal profession in Chicago 5 years from that point. Fast forward then, you know, 5 years, we were still independent. We were still approximately 100 lawyers, and we had continued to be as profitable as we'd ever been. So we engaged then into another new 5-year plan, which went into it no preconceptions other than one thing, which is Much Else was going to stay independent going forward. Other than that, we didn't know where that 5-year plan, what that 5-year plan would look like. We, like a lot of us do, you know, engaged a company Growth Play, who was the outside consultant, to come in. And in talking to them, and we put together a 10-person planning committee that I was a part of. And where we started with them was we wanted this to be outward and inward. So what we needed to hear, the 10 people on this planning committee, was we needed to hear from our clients, and we needed to hear from our stakeholders in our firm about where we were, what we were doing well, what we were not doing well, what we could maybe do that we weren't doing at that point in time, in order to look at it and say, what do we want to do in this next 5 years? Instead of us deciding what it is, let's listen to others and come together with a plan. So we spent the first probably 3 months of the project with our consulting, going out and interviewing our clients. We determined who those should be across the spectrum of our practice groups. some who had been long-term clients, some who had been more recent clients, and got their input about who we were, what we were doing for them, where they saw us fitting into what they were doing going forward. And also during that time, interviewing our own people at every level, from income partners to equity partners to associates to our administrative staff, to find out really who do they say we are and what do they like most about being at Mutualist, and what could we do better. And it was really with that input and that feedback, both from our clients and our internal stakeholders, that we put the plan together based on really what we had heard. As an example, one of the things that came up over and over again, quite frankly, was our clients saying, we don't know how to pronounce cellist. Something as simple as that. It's she-list, it's, it's not that complicated of a word, but for whatever reason in the interviews came up over and over again. Not like it was a big deal. It was anecdotal, but it was there consistently. And one of the things then we did as part of our launching of our 5-year plan was to rebrand and to put ourselves out there as much. We're still Mutualist PC. We didn't change our corporate name, but we changed all of our branding around the removal of cellist and the new branding and the new logo and what appears on the website and what appears on our brochures and everything to be much. Listening again to what our clients were telling us about us and about who we were. And the other thing principally we learned through this and mainly through our stakeholder interviews is our differentiator, we believed, and our stakeholders believed, was our culture and what we provided internally, the type of people that we had, again, from the top to the bottom, from Mitchell Roth, David Brown, all the way through our administrative staff. It was about the culture. And one thing we've always been very good at is when we bring over laterals stay. I'm a lateral. I got there in 2008. I didn't know how long I'd be there. So we looked at it and said, we have this culture. Well, how do we take the culture that we have internally and share that culture with our clients? How can we make that culture a differentiator, not just with our stakeholders, but how can we make that a differentiator with our clients? And so one of the things we had going at that time was our lease was probably, we were 10 or 11 years out. We're 2 or 3 years out, I should say, of our lease expiring. And so part of what we did was get in a dialogue with our building about re-upping. We liked the location we were in. We generally liked our space, but it was a little dated. It was built in 2003. And what can we do with our space to bring our clients into Mutualist, both physically and literally and virtually? How do we make them part of who we are? And so part of what we did was in recreating our space, and we went around to offices around the city, but not just law firms. We went to some tech space. We went to accounting firm space. We did go to law firms, newer law firm space, but to see what other people were doing. And how do we make our space different? How do we make our space interesting to our clients? And so we came up with this plan of, we went from 3 floors to 2 floors. So we saved $1 million a year in rent, which we then took to invest into growth areas that we wanted to build on. I'll talk about in a minute. So we saved money. The building gave us the money to do the retrofit because we were re-upping for 10 years pre-COVID, right? So maybe good, maybe bad. It was the right decision at the time. And part of what we did, we built what was called our hub. And so the hub is a space that has kind of 2 sides to it. And the one side has tables and high tops. The other side has pool table, dartboard, a kegerator, wine rack, and we looked at that space of how can we use that with our clients. And so we fitted it with all the technology you could have to be able to host podcasts, webcasts, whatever you would need to do. One area we said we weren't at all skimping on was the technology in that hub. And we needed our IT people to be forward thinking. What do we need today, and what do we need in 2 years? What do we need in 3 years? Go out, do the research, find out what other people are doing, especially in industries that are more forward thinking than law firms. And so part of what we said we could use with that space is, and as part of this, we also created Much University. And for Much University to be both, again, external and internal. We can use Much University to assist in educating our associates, running programs for our associates, running programs from our various practice groups to other practice groups, but then also using Much University to educate our clients on various topics and things that would be interesting to them, in order to get who we could physically into our office and see our space, and then those that couldn't physically be there to be there virtually, remotely through the technology that we created. So the centerpiece of our new office space was such that, obviously I said we went from three floors to 2 floors. So now we went from everybody we now have everybody in a single size office. There are no corners. There's no equity partner office size. It's all one size. We could put that on 2 floors and dedicate a significant area of our main floor, on our 18th floor, to the hub. And it's an area where the conference room and a large conference room comes around, and then you make your way to the hub. So in theory, you could have maybe the presentation in the main conference room, and then go into the hub afterwards for cocktails or for mingle afterwards, or we could host the whole thing in the hub, depending on what would make sense for that particular event. So we really dedicated that space and a lot of what we were doing to that. It also, in part, we've used that hub space for now a lot of what we've been doing in the recent months on diversity and inclusion, on programs we've hosted on diversity and inclusion, again, all virtual because of COVID. But that space has given us this opportunity to really interact with our clients in a way that we didn't have before. And, to this point, we haven't been able to use it the way we fully want to because of COVID, but it's there, and we are still using it from a virtual standpoint, and hope to use it in a different way once we can get people back, actually into our office. So that was a large part of, again, hearing what our stakeholders had to say to us, and then taking what we believe we do best and how do we bring that to our clients. And then again, using what we heard from our clients and what we saw in the market, we picked 3 growth areas that we said we were going to make an economic investment into. Again, in part using the money that we saved on the rent going forward. One of them was private equity. We brought in a person who was dedicated. He's not even part of our marketing group, not a part of our marketing department. He's solely a business development person, with the first task of getting us as many face-to-face meetings as you can with private equity groups, so we can continue to build our M&A group, which has always been, or at least certainly in the most recent past, one of our most successful groups. So we brought him in, dedicated to getting us meetings, getting us FaceTime, getting us in the door with private equity groups we haven't done work with. The other 2 that we really focused on was kind of with our venture group, with a guy by the name of Greg Grove, and his ideas of what he could do with emerging companies, and particularly in the blockchain area. And then a third one for us, we made the decision that we wanted to invest in insurance policyholder litigation, and again, dedicated a certain amount of money to go out to the market and bring somebody in who had that experience, had that expertise. And we ended up bringing in a guy by the name of Jason Rosenthal, who was with Shop and Weiss, and then became part of Honigman when Honigman took them, they became part of Honigman. But we made the investment in Jason to come in to build that policyholder litigation practice that we wanted to get involved in. And that's been a payoff for us at this point because of a lot of the COVID litigation that we're doing for clients of ours on the insurance side. So that one ended up tying together kind of with what was happening coincidentally. So, I think from our perspective, the thing that's been best about this plan and how we came about it, which was a little bit different than how we had done them in the past, was really, again, the external and internal buy-in and input from clients and our stakeholders about who we were, because it's always nice to have somebody else tell you who you are, tell you what you're doing well, and tell you what you could be doing differently. And we listened to that and really put our plan together based on that.
Marty, that's great information. Sounds like you guys have taken some great steps forward. Certainly, it sounds like strategic planning was something that kind of jump-started your process. Alon, I'm curious from your standpoint and the wow effect. What was it that kind of prompted you to look at that and seek to get the wow project off the ground?
Well, we have such a competition going on in Israel. We have 1 out of 128 is a lawyer in Israel. 1 out of 128 people in Israel, every one is a lawyer. And I think in the area of Tel Aviv is like, I got the data, it's like actually 1 out of 20 is a lawyer. So we have so many lawyers in Israel on one side, and we have such a competition between the big and leading law firms that at the end of the day, and also the fees really went down. They cannot go down any lower. So actually the competition is really now about giving an exceptional service and providing an exceptional service is to have a wow service. Is a wow that the client appreciates so much that they will go to tell their friends that they got such a service from our firm or for anyone that's giving a wow service. So this concept, which is like I'm really discussing with certain partners in the law firm, is that's really the way to compete at this stage. When you cannot compete about fees or prices, you have to compete about the service and adapt certain new standards that are better than other law firms. So this is why we call it wow. It has to be wow. It has to be more than the expectations of the clients or new clients comparing to what they're getting in other law firms.
Great information. One of the things that I took away from the presentation, all three of you really spoke about culture, and that it is culture that is driving this. And I'm going to let whoever wants to answer this go forward with it. Obviously, culture can't be forced. It can't be enforced. It's something that, has to be organic. So were there steps that you took that were specifically designed to really emphasize the culture aspect and allow that to develop in connection with these innovations?
I'll go then, Alon. But I think you're right. I think you're right when you say it can't be forced. It is certainly organic. But I do think that ultimately kind of starts from the top, right? And how people within your organization are treated, whether they are listened to, whether they feel part of the organization, right? And are they a true stakeholder in what you're trying to accomplish? And so I think it doesn't happen overnight. I think it is built over time, but it's built through, I think, consistency, right? I think now, like this situation is a perfect example, I think, right? In that we've had this conversation, probably others have too, like how you treat people now when in these circumstances, particularly the early days of COVID, and how you show yourself to your firm. It's easy to be it's easy to be a great leader when things are fat and everybody's doing well, right? Would we judge people by how do you show, how do you act when times are tough and in crisis? You know, I mean, I think that's what you have to show. It's that consistency. It's when things are good, you act in a way, and when things are down, you act in the same way. And so that only happens over time, because we go through, you know, we all went through 08 and 09, right? And then we came back and everything was fat again. And then COVID hit. So to me, it's just, who are you as a firm? Who are you as a leadership? And are you consistent, you know, good times and bad?
I agree with Martin that it starts from the top, and it's the DNA of the organization. It's the legacy. And of course, if we have a certain DNA and we have our certain values, we have also to choose the people according to it, and not just to, you know, to add great lawyers, but also lawyers with the right personality, which is suitable for our DNA. And I think working together, getting everyone involved, listen to everyone from the junior associate to interns to everybody, and make everybody feeling that he's part of the same values and common goal together. I think it's very important as the culture is being seen by the employees and the clients all together. Because at the end of the day, the law firm is an organization that connects between good or very good lawyers and clients. And we have to make the employees as well as the client feel that this is the right organization for them to choose.
And maybe I would add that we have, you know, us from the X generation, we have been complaining about the new generations for ages that they can't work as we were working, and now we are discovering that in fact they can be more well-being in the firm and more efficiency, and that for example working from the distance is not necessarily a problem. It can improve efficiency, productivity. So if I take the two aspects my co-panelists were mentioning before, when we were preparing this session, Alon, and when Alon mentioned this wow effect, I found it very, very effective, and that was brilliant. And last week I addressed this question with my M&A team, and they were very interested by the concept. So we spotted 5 clients, 5 big clients as a test, and we as a sample, and we are to sort of make a list of all the wow effects that we can bring to the table. And for example, I know you all do this, but for some clients, we propose on a non-billable basis to go to them once a year to try to learn from them how they see us, and what we could improve as a service provider, how we could improve this. This is a non-billable session. And they like to speak about us, about the relation, and of course it's assuring the loyalty of the client for another 2 or 3 years if you do this on a regular basis. So this was part of it. But for example, we also can give some extra services, non-billable services, like put them in contact with notaries, accountants, intermediary for the sale of their businesses. Recently, that was 2 weeks ago, one of our most important clients, I happened to know that he was changing premises, And I had one of my clients who's one of the big players of this field. So I put them into contact, and it happened that the guy found new premises for my big clients. So this is win-win, because it took me like 5 minutes, and the important thing is that how do we get this information that the client will not release to us easily. So this is part of what we are trying to achieve. And what was saying Marty, it's also, I mean, we have, you did this pre-COVID, which shows that you are some sort of visionary, because we now, of course, have to think about how to reorganize our premises. And I was discussing, it was last week, with one of with this real estate is a specialist, and they were saying that some of the French law firms are reorganizing themselves by what they call territories. So they have, like Martin was saying, a hub, which is this common space where you can host clients, and you've added to this the technological aspect, which is very, very interesting. And on top of that, they organize the premises with territories. Of course, when you have a team of 10 lawyers, you don't need 10 offices, you need maybe 5 or 6. And so you gain space, you gain rents, and you have extra money to play. So this is very interesting. And thank you for bringing this.
You know, these all sound like they've been received incredibly well. I'm going to turn that on its head and ask each of you just quickly to talk a little bit about what was the most significant challenge that you had in terms of rolling this out and implementing it in your firm?
I mean, for us, I think it was in part the idea of people get used to, you know, from the space standpoint from us, right? When they heard we're giving up a floor, and we're going to, you know, single size offices, and, you know, what's this going to look like? So I think really from us, once we got over that, you know, kind of that hurdle, I think everybody, you know, it wasn't that much of a hurdle once they got a chance to see the concept of our space. And what this was going to be. You know, honestly, there wasn't really a significant, you know, challenge in getting buy-in on it, you know. And again, I think in large part because from our, you know, where we did it, and it sounds like same with my colleagues here, we you know, we get everybody involved, right? So everybody was bought in from day one because they felt like they were being heard and what they felt like was important. So I think when you have that buy-in, it's not here's what we're doing, meaning here's what we 10 people on this committee decided we're doing, but this is what we as a 180 person total law firm are doing. Then the buy-in's there.
Alon?
Well, if you mean like the way the office is organized, and we are stuck in a lease agreement for another at least 3 years. We understand the need for a change and maybe to have a whole new concept about the way of the office of the law firm look like, and how we build and how we can be more efficient and manage the space. We understand it's a project we're probably going to have to do in 3 years because we don't want to invest much in that at that moment. But of course, there's going to be a new concept. I like very much what Martin described, and the concept of the hub and using it differently. It is very interesting to think what would be the future of offices in the future and how people are going to work. I still have some questions about that. I mean, if, for example, all the partners should have like a small regular room, like all the associates, for example, one standard room. I mean, for a lot of us, still the office is a place we stay more than at home. And the question is, if you want to be more efficient about cost, or you want your life to be better? Where is your real home in some way? So it's a question like if you just want to think about how to pay less rent or how you want your life to look like, and what is better for you, for let's say for the partners, and what is better for the employees. You know, a partner told me a few days ago, you know, saving costs is not a strategy. And in some way I agree. I mean, if we, for example, in Israel have such a competition about very, very good lawyers, the question is what we offer them. And is it important to have a nice room? Or is it okay that people will share rooms or share a hub? I mean, these are questions that we still need to elaborate and think about them. But these are important questions, of course.
Christophe, what about the Quality Commission? What was your biggest impediment or challenge?
I think my biggest challenge was to have this accepted by my partners, because because I after 3 years I was not anymore the managing partner, and then when I thought that my partners were not moving fast enough, I would bring to the Quality Commission 1 or 2 subjects like legal text or working from the distance, which were very important topics for the firm. But my partners at the time were thinking I was crossing the lines, and I was in a way, the Quality Commission was not, has no legitimacy was not entitled to decide on these things. And that's why when of course I had to reassure them on the fact that we were just some kind of we were trying to bring subjects. We were not taking any decision, but we were making things move forward. And well, that was because at some times there was some partners who were forbidding the senior associates to join the Quality Commission because they were thinking it was some kind of threat for them, or we were losing time, or so this was the, of course, like every innovation, you have to have this accepted by your partners. And I should probably have discussed a bit more in advance. Now everything is, I mean, we have the green light for everything. Everyone is happy with that. But the starting point was a bit difficult because of this. That was the biggest challenge.
Paul, can I say one thing real quick?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think Alon said something that I agree with and I think is critically important, which is cost cutting, or I know exactly the words, but cutting costs is not a strategy. And you're 100% correct, right? Whatever, you know, from our perspective, when we were doing, you know, thinking about our lease and going forward, it was part of the full picture. And what we wanted to do with the space, and if it resulted in us being able to pay less rent that we could invest into the firm, that was part of the overall strategy. I know we had first few months of COVID, like everybody else, trying to look at things. How does things look? What do we need to do? And then we got to a point of saying we're not having any more discussions about costs as a management group. We're not talking about it anymore. Zero. The only thing we're going to talk about going forward is driving more revenue. We're not having a discussion anymore because I agree with Alon. It's not, cutting costs is not a strategy. It's never a strategy. It could be part of a strategy, but it's not a strategy in and of itself.
Great thoughts. Meg, I'm just checking our clock here. We're coming up at the top of the hour.
Yep, I think we're good.
We're good, or do we have time for one more round?
I think, yeah, if we can have, you can pose another question. None came through in the chat, but if you have maybe one more, Paul, that you wanted to pose, that would be great.
Yeah, I do. For each of you, since we're at the top of the hour, we'll just shortly, next steps to implement and drive this, and where do you go from here with the WOW, with the Quality Commission, with your strategic plan?
Ours is, I mean, literally we're meeting Thursday, so so we continue to and are evaluating the plan, particularly in the face of COVID, and what are we doing and how are we doing. So, our group continues to get together, sometimes with our outside consultant and sometimes not. We actually hired somebody from the outside consultant is now head of our marketing. She's involved in everything, but yeah, it's continuing to look at it. We're a couple of years into it, and because, and how do we have to keep it evolving as we're dealing with these new challenges?
I'll probably bring to the table of the Quality Commission the two subjects of my fellow mates. I would probably ask the new president to address the WOW effect and the working from the distance and rearrangement of the premises, because these are entirely, it's part of the strategy of the firm, that's for sure. But this also has to be addressed by the Quality Commission. So I would try to bring this to the table of the Quality Commission, because these are two very, very interesting topics. So this is what I'm going to do next.
Alon?
We are constantly thinking about new initiatives and new ideas, and I'm trying to get a lot of people within the organization involved in getting like the ideas and opinions from all over, even from the younger guys, like from the interns, which sometimes you get very, very interesting ideas. So we try to innovate all the time and think together all the time. We have a long way to go. They say that the crisis bring new opportunities, and we are trying to understand and maybe find the right opportunities for us. But I think most importantly, we're waiting for the vaccine, so we can get back to our normal life and maybe start to travel again and look for our also cooperation abroad. So yes, we have to keep our ears open and to be all the time looking for the next steps and the next ideas.
Fantastic. Well, great thoughts, inspiring innovation stories from our three panelists. Thank you all three very, very much. I know I've seen some comments that have been sent to me personally about how great this panel was. Meg, anything to wrap up with? I know we've got other events. Please go online and sign up if you haven't. And Meg, I'll turn it over to you to finish things out.
I think that thanks everybody for joining today, and thank you to our panelists and Paul. And as I mentioned before, let me know if you need a certificate of attendance, and this session will be online next week.
Fantastic. Everybody,
thanks,
stay
Paul.
safe, stay well.
Safe.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Great job.